The clamor for more women to be in governance has taken the nation by storm in recent weeks. The Lagos State government continues to seek ways of making this a reality by the inclusion of women in more leadership positions across the civil service and, of course, governance across all levels. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of This is Lagos. Women converged on the State House of Assembly to protest how the National Assembly members rejected 3 critical bills proposed to change the narrative for women in politics. Leading this team of demonstrators is the First Lady of Lagos, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, who is calling on the state lawmakers to further add pressure on the federal legislature in reviewing the new laws that may change the fortune of women across the country.
Pressure on the federal and state lawmakers for them to do the right thing and be true representatives of our people, with women constituting at least 50%.
The Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, agrees there is room for improvement as it promises to begin the process to make such laws replicable in Lagos.
We will always appreciate women in Lagos and Nigeria and Africa for the good job you are doing. You are the sons of our family. You are the friends of the men. You have that prestige. And I want to say this, that we have never for long been disappointed having women in the parliament.
Women, however, say participation must go beyond laws, but by collaboration for the credible candidate who vies for office.
Only that you look at our ESCO, you see that our women are well represented. And in many of our boards and stratas, our permanent secretaries, you see many women there and discharging their duties effectively and qualitatively.
If we really support each other, if women were to support each other, we won't even need any affirmative action. We won't need 35%. But unfortunately, we don't support because of our husbands.
We are your wives, we are your sisters, we are the mothers, we are your girlfriends, we are your daughters. We are here to support the government to ensure that governance reaches its peak level.
The resolve by women to press home their demand through series of organized protests may ultimately yield the change needed for women affirmative action. The governor is on a working visit to Ikorodu to commission a sporting facility and a computerized education facility facilitated by the local government and local council development area chairmen and women in Ikorodu.
Our council chairmen have been able to complement your efforts by constructing a number of roads within our capacity, build befitting police posts, build beautiful council secretariats that will boost productivity and morale of staff members.
But perhaps most important for this visit is for the state governor to present checks totaling 500 million naira to 74 land claimants, which paved the way for several road infrastructure in the area.
When we leave Marina or Ikeja, we tell our colleagues we are going to our village. But going through Igbobo, you see the massive construction work going on.
This presents an opportunity for residents of the local government to express their most pressing demands to the state government.
We want to appeal to the state government to assist in the construction of the second phase of Agura Berigbe Ijede Road Phase 2. Construction of Oreta Ofi Road in Igbobo Bayeko as assured by USA.
The governor, however, notes that there is more to come in Ikorodu as it promises the completion of the entire stretch of the Ijede Berigbe Road.
Agri-Kishawo will assure you that one part of it should be fully motorable. One part of it should be fully motorable very, very soon. I know that there's a lot of challenge on Bola Ahmed Igbobo Road. And we're pushing the contractor. That's why I'm happy that we can hand over the compensation checks. This is the second or third time that we're paying for the compensation on that road. I also mentioned that I want to go to Igbogbo Baiku on the right. I know that it's on the right. We made a promise, Omipojo Kaloni, but we'll come there because it goes to our housing estate, so we have not forgotten. We mentioned something 2 weeks ago at Etiosa, which is the 4th Mainland Bridge. For me, for emphasis, the 4th Mainland Bridge is the beneficiary of Ikorodu division because that bridge is coming to Ikorodu and it is 37 kilometers. Once it lands, it goes through the bypass and finally get to Agric-Ishawo and go straight until when it connects Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. So let's see if the Agric-Ishawo ma lo dele toni and Lagbara Olorun before the end of second quarter. We're starting, we're going to hand over that project. And it's a big one, but it will take a while before they complete it. It will get to Aripo in Ogun State. That is where it's supposed to connect to at the end of the day. And Ikorodu, it's like a ring road. The entire Ikorodu community will benefit, when it is finally completed. Because also that in transportation and traffic management, the waterways is also an important component of our deliverable. So that we have built a jetty at Bayoku town, Igbogbo, but we're also currently building a floating one at Ibeshe so that we can complement one another. And once we've succeeded in that, we're removing all the wrecks that impede ferry movement all around, Ibeshe and Igbogbo, just to be sure that you have safe movement on the waterways. We're also ensuring that we can move passengers easily from Ikorodu to Ebute-Ero in Lagos. We can move people from Ikorodu to Falomo in Lagos. We can move people from Ikorodu to Lekki and to Law School area. And every day that passenger ferries, come around, 40, 50 passenger ferries, and they are crossing. Ikorodu to Lagos Island is one of the busiest routes that we know, and want to increase, the ferries and the jetties that we have all around Ikorodu and its environs.
The governor notes that creating centers for the youth to nurture their talents will only serve to create more opportunities for them and reduce crime rates in Ikorodu. The gridlock that cripples Apapa till this day is testament of what business activities can do to a predominantly residential area when not properly managed and maintained. The Lagos State government is looking to prevent a repeat of such along the corridor of the Lekki Free Trade Zone with an inspection of facilities and the inauguration of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority office dedicated to attending to the area.
The intention of state government is to reduce man-hours wasted on road in order to aid efficient and effective business operations at the optimal level. Today, equipment such as patrol vehicles, trucks and other traffic control gadgets will be presented to the new LASMA area command in demonstration of the state government's proactivity and commitment to stemming current and future rise in traffic in communities within Ibeju-Lekki, Eleko and Akodo areas.
The traffic unit is also receiving working equipment to complement existing ones with a view to addressing the issues that abound.
The community is desirous of having a change. Their roads are being spoiled by trailers and other vehicles alike, parking indiscriminately. All these things are affordable. But in this part of the world, some people need force, so we put them in the line.
It's unfortunate we are having what we are having at Pinnacle now, but that is just temporary. It's temporary. And if we even say that we should move them backward, that we should tell them somewhere, the backlash will be on Lagosians at that end.
The stakeholders are, however, hoping to address the needs of truck drivers by creating a holding facility to accommodate them when off-road.
If you want to do things that will be sustainable, you have to do things properly, right? Because we are trying to provide the infrastructure facilities in this place, and at the same time, we are trying to give our stakeholders and other people who may be interested the opportunity, right, to invest, that it is not unspeakable. And you are talking about 1,000 at a time. So it is not unspeakable for us to expect that the parking platform itself will be on Pile Foundation.
The new area command will see the deployment and employment of new officials into the Traffic Management Authority with a view to employing locals of the area, creating new opportunities for them. Students from various schools are gathered in Lagos for a competition centered on agriculture.
Symbiosis, commensalism, competition.
The Lagos State Government, partners of this initiative, say the program is aimed at re-engineering, recharting, redirecting and encouraging youth in agriculture.
Over the years, government at different levels, particularly even at the federal level, have always been touting the need to go back to agriculture. Not just for us to have food sustainability, but to also see it as our own means, as another path to diversification. We've always, for years, relied on petroleum, and we've seen where that has taken us to. The government has realized that. And so has over the years been calling for a visit to the past. A visit to the past, not of regret, but of re-engineering, of recharting our course. Majority of us here know the Kano Pyramid, the Cocoa House at Ibadan, very close to us, and how that building came to be, proceed of agriculture. And so, for us to therefore take a step back and refocus our energy in agriculture, we are of course not going to depend on the men and women who are 60, 65, 70, 75 years old. Are we?
In the Ministry of Agriculture, we also have what is known as the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, LAP, which is a 1-month training of 200 women and youths per batch, which aims at improving capacity, creating wealth and employment in the agricultural value chains, such as poultry, piggery, aquaculture, and vegetable production. The expected impacts of the LAP training include the annual creation of 2,000 young agro entrepreneurs who would in turn become job creators. The program also aims to promote food security, improve nutrition, and general well-being of Lagosians, and the creation of at least 4,000 indirect jobs by every 2,000 beneficiary per year through the engagement of support staff such as attendants and artisans, among others. In the Ministry of Agriculture, we also have what is known as the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, LAP, which is a 1-month training of 200 women and youths per batch, which aims at improving capacity, creating wealth and employment in the agricultural value chains, such as poultry, piggery, aquaculture, and vegetable production.
Stakeholders say a lot more can be done to help nurture young potential farmers who will possess the educational background to break boundaries in the sector with a review of the current curriculum.
For many, many years, when we ask students to go and work on the farm or cut the grass or do things like that in school, it's because they're being punished. The STEP schools agri-competition is designed to completely reverse that.
We are in the process of changing the curriculum to include agriculture as a goal, not as an extracurricular activity, but as part of the main curriculum. And then in addition to that, we are going to continue with the overall STEP work, which is happening in other high schools across the continent and across the country.
The finalists say there has been a mindset change which will encourage other youths to see the potential in agro-business.
This competition has actually taught me that agriculture is not for poor people. Agriculture is not for poor people. Agriculture is for people who are aiming for higher heights. Agriculture has been mechanized.
Helps train younger ones in agriculture and also make agriculture more developed than this.
The narrative around agriculture has typically been of rural communities amongst the low-income areas, but with the world seeking alternatives to the biggest farm producers, educating and equipping young ones will help put Nigeria and Africa in good stead. The death of Oluwabamise Ayanwale took the state by storm, as many continue to emphasize on the vulnerability of young women going about their daily business in the state. The International Women's Day was another opportunity for the state government to reassure all women of more actions to be taken to protect girls and, of course, young women across all levels in the state. The governor, deputy governor, and two of the few men at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Oniko, as women from across Lagos came together to celebrate the International Women's Day.
Equality develop. As we celebrate International Women's Day, to avail themselves of various opportunities to become empowered, self-reliant, self-confident, and even as we strive to attain leadership positions across the state.
According to the United Nations Women, two main obstacles prevent women from participating fully in the political space. First are the structural barriers, such as institutions and norms, and the non-passage of the bills at the National Assembly is an apt case in point. The resistance the bills met at the National Assembly are from women all across Lagos and Nigeria. To address these gaps, we must be intentional in resourcing, grooming, enabling, and empowering girls and young women for political leadership. Once again, because I've been told I should spend 2 minutes here, I am begging you, Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, all our leaders seated here, we have space to occupy, both at the State of Assembly and the National Assembly.
The fight for women inclusion is at the forefront of conversations for women here, including the First Lady, who had led a protest to the State House of Assembly following the vote against gender-sensitive bills at the National Assembly. She brought some good news from the protest to the women gathered.
The bills have been recommitted for consideration in 4 weeks' time. Now that is good news for us. That is really good news. Because on the 1st of March, a lot of women were downcast. For Oluwabamise Ayanwale, the young lady that was gruesomely murdered, with a stain and a slap on our face in our own BRT bus. Lagos State condemns ritual killing. It is not acceptable. We pray that this will be the last time that we hear this kind of bad news. The message from the women again is that as we have it at the executive level, let it go down to the judiciary, the legislative, the local government level, the wards, just like that. That is what they're clamoring for. Let me also use this opportunity to acknowledge all our women in Lagos State for staying in their homes, especially those women on the streets who toil tirelessly to put food on the table for their families. As we celebrate International Women's Day today, I wish to encourage all our women to thrive and be the best in their chosen fields, as this will lead to success and make them stand out even amongst their male counterparts. By so doing, more women will get to power and occupy better positions at all levels of governance. I thank the Governor of Lagos State, my dearest husband, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, champion of the He for She campaign and advocate for gender equality in Lagos State. The state government has zero tolerance for all forms of gender-based violence, child marriages, sexual harassment, and harmful practices against women and girls.
For the governor, despite his efforts for the 35% affirmative action within his cabinet, there is still room for more in Lagos and across the country.
Petty traders, market women, small businesses, we want to get more money into your hands. We believe that once we empower you, you will empower your family. And once you are empowering your family, you are empowering the state. Once you empower the state, you are empowering the nation, and to attain their full potential. Available statistics as indices of development have shown that societies where women are active partners and participants in development are more likely to attain higher level of prosperity, growth, and progress. In Lagos State, our commitment to this yearly celebration reflects our belief in the critical role of our women and the roles that they must play, and they are currently playing side by side with their men. As I address you today, I can attest to the invaluable contribution of our women in making the attainment of their goals and objectives come to reality under our team's agenda. I'm sure you know that we're keeping our 35% in our cabinet, and I think Lagos State deserves a round of applause for that. That is the highest number of female in any cabinet in the country. Also to say that you know that our Secretary to Government is a woman. Women Affairs and Poverty, we're the only ones that have a full ministry that is also being activated year on year. The highest number of permanent secretaries that we have in our service are women. The highest number of judges that we have in our judiciary are women. The highest number of heads of government agencies and parastatals that we have in Lagos are women.
Other women leaders gathered say it is time for women to stand up and be counted.
Representatives are supposed to be listening to the people, and we can see that our voices are being heard.
If we really support each other, if women were to support each other, we won't even need any affirmative action. We won't need 35%. But unfortunately, we don't support because of our husbands.
We've had the short end of the stick for too long, and now we want them to give us that footage so that we are able to compete favorably.
Breaking the bias, according to this year's theme, will require the demand for equity and participation of women who form an integral part of the socio-economic balance of every nation. The Lagos State Governor has described the gruesome murder of Oluwabamise Ayanwale, a young girl last seen boarding a BRT bus, as unfortunate and disheartening. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who spoke on the sidelines of the International Women's Day event held in Lagos, said investigations by the Nigeria Police Force are still ongoing, as the state will ensure the full cooperation of all entities involved and punishments meted out on those found guilty according to the provisions of the law.
What we're about is to ensure that we transparently get to the root of it. And that's why the police, and the Department of State Security were able to immediately, pick the person. It was not in Lagos. It was in another state that had to go and pick, the individual. And I'm sure that, the Nigerian police have the competence to be able to get us, to the final conclusion. And we've said it. Whoever is found, whoever you are, the full, route of the law will be applied, to such consequences, and will ensure that such really does not repeat itself. And I think it's important for me, because I've also seen on social media people are asking, you don't have CCTV cameras in your cars and your vehicles. No, it's not true. In all of our BRT buses that we procured 2.5 years ago, all of them have CCTV cameras. But however, and trackers. However, the additional ones that we bought locally, the ones that we bought locally last year, are the ones that we have not installed, because you need to do a lot of configuration before you can put CCTV cameras in there. right? And so we're speaking with the manufacturer of that.
The governor, however, disclosed that due to the lease of the mass transit company to private investors, some of the buses have not been fully equipped with requisite security cameras and other safety gadgets, but assured such will be enforced on all existing and prospective partners going forward.
Information. At the time in which these drivers closes and they switch off the lights, they are meant to drive back empty to their yard. Let me repeat myself. They are meant to drive back empty to their yard. Any bus that is still on service will certainly not have his lights on, so it will not have his light off. Right, and so that in itself is a litmus, or it's something that the citizens need to be aware of. Right, that once the light of a bus, is fully off, once the radar is not showing where it's going to, people should desist from entering such, because the conductors will have been out of it, the checkers will have been out of it. It's only the bus driver that is taking the bus to the terminal to go and park. And so we should just, pass on this message, and whatever additional measure that we need to put in place to ensure that all of our private operators, because these are run by private companies, all of our private operators, the SLAs that are supposed to look at it again, I'm sure the company and Lamata, they'll look at the entire process and they see how they improve on the SLA, that things like this could not repeat itself again.
Well, the 35 affirmative action by the Lagos State government has been applauded by many as its first step to ensuring that there are more women in leadership positions across all levels. However, many are calling for the women to be given equal opportunities to rise to their maximum potential, and taking many of them on the streets, away and into the boardrooms. Well, that completes our episode for this week. Until next time, I am Wilson Amoni, and this is Lagos.